Hey guys, it's Al with techmadeezy, and thank you so much for clicking on our video. Well guys, I've got a good one for you. This is the brand new River 3 Plus, and to my knowledge, it really doesn't replace anything. This is a really unique model. Look, this is lightweight, it's portable, it actually has a new improved handle as well, which I'll show you later on. But check it out, it's expandable, right? Like the River Pro, if you remember that, but better because there's no clunky cables. This is one of the optional expansion batteries. This is expandable to 858 watt hours, which is nice. Now, they've got a new LFP battery in here that's even more efficient and more safe. And EcoFlow has always taken safety very seriously. This also has a faster UPS. We'll talk more about that. It's got a built-in LED light. So why don't we take some time and check this out? Let's get this party started. Hi, this is Al from techmadeezy with a really quick message. The video you're about to watch is sponsored. We received this product from the vendor. But keep in mind, we will be very honest with you as we review the product. That is very important to us. If you like our video, I sure hope you give us a thumbs up. I hope you share our video. And last, I really hope you subscribe and become a part of the family. Thank you. As usual, this is what we're going to be covering in this video. Go ahead and hit pause if you want to review it, but we're going to move on and check this out. Well, why don't we get this unboxed? And there she goes, the brand new River 3 Plus, and it's actually sitting on top, connected, by the way, to the expansion battery. It is really, really nice. And these are the covers for the actual ports. When you're not using expansion, you want to put these on, keep all the dust out. You do get some quick start guides. You get a nice thick AC cord. This thing is a beast. This is 14 AWG. Do you see how thick this is? So that's nice to see because I've seen them go in reverse with some of the other power stations moving forward. This cable, we're going to tell you what it is later on, okay? So you know why they're including this specific cable. And of course, you do get a car charger. And you don't get a solar charger cable. So we're going to include that in the video description because you should have one, right? I mean, obviously, solar charging is phenomenal, especially when the power is out. So let's go ahead and take a close look at the power station. Then we'll take a close look at the battery. So starting from the front, I'll zoom in a little bit here. And listen, this front has a shine. So we'll see if that interrupts us in any way. But as you can see, it's got a car charge port. So this is going to give 126 watts out. So that's pretty darn good for a car charger. You've got your DC on and off button here, and that should control, I'm hoping, the USB as well. Sometimes the USB is on by default when we turn the power button on. So USB-A and a USB-A, you got two of those. There's a 12 watts. You've got one 100 watt USB Type-C. Later on, we're going to show you some accessories. If you want to convert these, you can. So you can take a USB-A and make it a USB-C. It obviously won't make it 100 watts though, but we'll have some accessories coming up in a little while. Lights. So we're going to demonstrate the light. This actually has a light down here, as you can see. Now the light is off. So I'll demonstrate the light in a little while and show you it. It's got 3 modes. I believe it's low, high, and SOS. I believe it's SOS. So there's a dedicated light button. And your AC on and off. And I know what you're thinking, right? You're like, one AC outlet, and this is a 3 Plus? Well, guess what? I'm going to show you the back in a little while, and you're going to see that it has 2 more AC outlets, all right? Here's your top, nice and flat. And I have to say, they did improve the handle. Let's zoom out a little bit. They did improve the handle. I have to say it's more ergonomic, to be honest with you. So it makes more sense when you grab it with your hand, compared to the River 2 series. So they continue to improve a lot of different things. Now, on the right side, you're going to see here some ventilation. This is improved ventilation, all right, and here as well. So the fan is here, and obviously it's going to circulate the air through the unit, which is nice. Now, another thing about the handle is you can still use this as a flat surface. So you still have all this use for a flat surface. Now we go to the back, and let me just adjust the camera. I'll come right back. I want to show you the back. Here's the back. There's your 2 more AC ports. You see that? So you get 3 AC ports, all right? So don't worry. And again, these are actually 600 watts, 1200 watts surge, and 1200 watts XBoost. Now I'm going to put an image up on the screen for a second if you want to know what XBoost is, and I will also put it towards the end of the video. But let's go ahead and take a look at the back. One thing they did is really nice is they added a cover, and this thing just slides away, which is really nice. It just drops down, and you've got a, let me see if I can adjust this here. So we do have a USB-B. All right, now that is actually to improve the UPS function. We're going to cover that a little bit later on, all right? And I'll talk to you a little bit more about that. Now you have an XT60i, all right, because this actually has the pin. So you see that? I'm just going to angle this up a little bit. You see that pin right there? There's a little pin. That makes this an XT60i. It means it can handle more amperage, which really means it'll end up being more wattage when you charge solar. And then obviously your plug goes right there, right? This has a built-in power supply. You don't have no big brick sticking out. And let me show you the bottom real quick. So here's the bottom. As you can see, they've got a battery port cover. I'll show you that in a moment. You've got 4 rubber here, just as you put this on maybe wood or anything delicate, and you'll see that it's got a nice lift, so it'll really protect what you put this on. You'll get some spec information here, your serial number and stuff. Here's the battery port. So we just take this off. It keeps all the dust out and stuff. All right, so you keep this, but basically you've got just pins that slide in there as it connects to the battery. And by the way, let me zoom out a little more, and you'll see this is another placement. So it actually holds here, and it connects there. And I'll show you the extra battery in a little while. So let's finish up with some specs now. Before I finish up with specs, I want to turn the screen on. I just want you to see that this is a newly designed screen that is very similar to the Delta series, as you can see there. So really, really nice, you know. Output, input, it's got, you know, obviously the gauges and stuff. So pretty nice. So let's go over some additional specs. So MSRP I don't have right now, but I'm going to put that on the screen. All right, if I get the MSRP, obviously I'm going to include a link, and hopefully there'll be a sale price. So I'll put a code in the description if I get one. I should. All right. You already know the power, but again, real quick, I think that's more important. 600 watts, 1200 watts surge just for like a second or two. So just be aware. And then XBoost. I'll put some information on XBoost a little later in the video towards the end, but please know what XBoost is about before you use it. Turn off XBoost on the app, and then, you know, just use it for the appropriate devices. UPS on this is 10 milliseconds. And if you see that we showed you the port a moment ago, that special USB-B port, that helps communicate with like a computer, for instance. So if a computer's going to go down, I guess it's going to communicate through that. And as long as you have your computer plugged into this, I mean, it's really, 10 milliseconds is really, really fast for a power station. This does have pass-through charging. And the battery on this is 286 watt hours. It is a lithium iron phosphate battery with 3,000 cycles, and then it goes to 80%. Now, they did improve the battery. They say this is actually automotive grade full tab batteries for improved efficiency and safety. And I'll put an image up right now so you can see that there. So pretty interesting. This is expandable to 858 watt hours. There are two battery options. I'm going to pull that up on the screen right now so you see there's an EB300 and an EB600, which is what we have. The EB300 is 286 watt hours. The EB600 that we have is 572 watt hours. So it'll take this to 858 watt hours combined. All right, now one thing I'm going to show you in a little while is the expansion battery can be used on its own, which is really nice. Noise level on this, very interesting. They say up to about 1.6 feet is going to be about 30 dB, which is pretty amazing. As far as AC input, when you're charging this, it'll handle up to 380 watts. And they say it'll charge from 0 to 100% in 1 hour if you can get the consistent 380 watts. Solar, 220 watts. And I'm going to get specs and put them on the screen because I don't have them right now. Okay, the voltage and the amperage. I'm waiting on that, but I'll put that on the screen right now for you. As far as car, this can support up to 220 watts also in car charging, which is pretty sick because I've never seen a car charger go past 100 something. So we'll have to see that. The other thing too, and I'll show you on the expansion battery, it actually has a 140 watt USB Type-C port for in and out on the expansion battery. So this is just a standard USB Type-C. It's not an in and out. Dimensions. I'll throw dimensions up on the screen. The weight on this is 10.4 pounds or 4.7 kilograms. And I'm going to weigh this and the battery in a minute. And the warranty on this, I'm going to put up on the screen. I'm waiting for them to give me that information. So I'll put the warranty up on the screen. Let's go ahead and weigh the power station. And then I'll weigh it with the battery. So you can see there. All right, so we've got 10.6 pounds. 10.6 pounds. Let's try it with the battery real quick. All right, a little heavier. I'm just going to put this here and balance it, but let me just put it in the center. All right, and what do we got? We got 23.5 pounds, and that's with the power station and the battery. 858 watt hours. 23.5. Real quick light demo, and then I'm going to show you the expansion battery. We're going to take a close look at that. And I'm going to do another light demo in a darker place. Okay, I just turned off all the lights, but it's daytime. But I just wanted to show it to you. So if you turn on the light, first of all, the unit does have to be on for the light to power. So if I tap the button once, that's going to be low. That's high. And then it's got a strobe. I thought it was SOS, but it's actually just a strobe. All right, I'm in a dark kitchen right now, and I thought I would do a light test. Let's start off on low. Let me just get over here. All right, so that's low. Does a really good job, you know, of lighting up an immediate area. So that's low. It's high, just a little higher. It's not a huge difference. Just to kind of stand back, kind of show you how much it's lighting up the room. All right. And of course, strobe. Hey, maybe you need to use it. And that is our demo of the light. Here's another video that is coming out very soon. If you want to know the difference between the River 3 and the River 3 Plus, well, come check it out. It'll be out soon. Okay, this is something that I include in every one of my power station videos moving forward. It's called Know Before You Buy. And my goal with this is that you don't go out and buy something that is not going to work for you. All right? I don't want you spending the money. I don't want you to have the headache. And I can tell you how this started. I had a friend that bought a power station, and it was a small one. And because it was a power station, I believe she assumed it would power her coffee maker. And so she was extremely disappointed. And after talking with her, I tried to explain it's more about knowledge and understanding. And so that's why I put together Know Before You Buy, because I want you to think about a few things that I'm going to go over in this section. So let me get started with number one. Number one is, what do you want to power? You have to just stop for a minute and say, you know what am I using this for? Is it for a camping trip? Is it for a road trip? Am I buying this in the case of an emergency if my power goes out? Am I taking this to a cabin that we go to every once in a while? Right? So what do you want to power? Refrigerators, TVs, phones, maybe the internet, a laptop, LED lights. So take a moment, write that down. What do you want to power? Number two, do you know how much power your appliances and device require? You probably don't. Most people don't. I learned so much in the last couple of years, and I still don't know everything. So I'm going to be showing you an accessory towards the end of this video that I highly recommend you get, because it's going to help you, determine how much power your laptop uses, your TV uses, your phone uses. But let's stick to this page here. So number two, how much power? So you need to know that, okay? And the other thing is, some of these devices have startup wattage, surge wattage. If you're going to be powering a refrigerator uses wattage, but then it has a compressor that kicks on to make the refrigerator cold, and that can use hundreds of watts, especially older type refrigerators. Let's look at some examples real quick on the bottom. LED lights can use 5, maybe 10 watts. Those are the newer LED lights, right? Laptops can use 100. They could use more. It just depends on how old it is. Is it a gaming laptop, TVs can vary. New TVs use 100 to 200 watts, those thin TVs. But if you have a larger one, it could use 300 watts. If you have an older one, well, those can use like 300-400 watts. And what about a CPAP, right? If you have to sleep overnight and you have to use a CPAP, well, those can vary from 50 to 150 watts, probably more, probably less. Let's take a look at the next section. So here's part 3. How long, right? How long will you need to power the appliances or devices? Now, again, let's just say it's for an emergency, right? Maybe your power goes out once a year for like 8 to 12 hours. Let's use that as an example. All right? But you have to know, or at least have an idea before you make a purchase, because how long really connects with the battery size of the power stations. So let's look at the next slide. So let's put it all together, right? Number one, what do you want to power? What devices or appliances? Have a list of that. Number two, how much power do the appliances and devices require? Now, the tool or accessory I'm going to show you coming up is going to help you do that. And number three, how long will you need to power them, right? Number three, again, pertains to the size of the battery, right? But number one, and number two really pertains to the power of the unit, because each of these power stations have different power ratings. So here's an accessory that I'm going to recommend. And the brand, don't worry about the brand, because sometimes this brand's not available. I'll make sure links are in the description. But this device here, and I'm going to demo it in a moment so you can see it. I'm going to show it to you. It's real simple. But if you're new to it, it's intimidating, right? So this sells for around $25. And you can connect devices and appliances up to 1,875 watts. So just be aware, or 15 amps. Now, again, I don't expect you to know that, but I have to tell you that because if you plug in, let's say, a 3,000 watt like toaster oven, it's not going to work on this, okay? But let me demo it for you. But what this will do is it will help you understand the wattage that your devices and appliances use. So let's check out the demo. So we're going to do a simple demo, so you know what this device is about. Again, it doesn't cost much, first of all, right? I think it's around $25. And depending on the brand that's available, we'll put a link in the description. But just realize also that you can't plug everything into this. I believe there's like an 1800 watt limit and a certain amount of amps. Now, I know that's complicated, but if you want to know how many watts your light is using, how many watts your refrigerator is using, how many watts your laptop uses, your phone, this is perfect for it, okay? So this is plugged into my outlet, as you can see on the wall, and now I've got this light plugged in here. So all I need to do now is turn on the light, and let's see how many watts it uses. Now, again, it is on the watt screen, and this does do more than watts, so just be aware, okay? You can actually figure out kilowatts, which is how your electric company bills you. But I don't want to get that complicated. So let me turn the light on. And look at that. We're using 6.3 watts on the LED light. That's really good, right? And again, plug in your laptop, plug in your phone. Again, you'll learn more about the wattage that your appliances use, even your coffee maker. But if this was helpful, give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. And we're going to continue on with the review. All right. Well, you just watched Know Before You Buy. And, I really hope it gave you some good information, because I've had so many people buy power stations and then be disappointed because it didn't meet their needs because of what they had in their head. So don't forget to buy that device. The link will be in the video description, that meter. And you'll be able to plug your TV in, you'll be able to plug your fan in, and really figure out what your power needs are. All right, but let's talk about the River 3 Plus and the estimated run times based off the 286 watt-hour battery. Now, this is not with the expansion battery, okay? I'm just doing the unit itself. So if you wanted to run a small college refrigerator, and let's just say it used an average of 75 watts, you would get about 3 hours, okay? Now, what about a full-size refrigerator? Let's say it uses about 200 watts. You'd be able to get about 1 hour, to be honest with you. But I'll tell you now, check out our refrigerator test to see how long this power station lasted. You will be very surprised. But I'll also tell you, our refrigerator is a newer model that is a lot more efficient. Older refrigerators, let me just tell you now, might not work with this unit because the compressor kicks on, and the older refrigerators use like 500, 600, 700 watts when the compressor kicks on to really make the refrigerator cold. So please be careful. Now, home internet. If you use your router and your modem, that's about 50 watts. You can get about 5 hours. A fan. What about a full-size fan? One of those plug-in stand-up fans. They use about 60 watts around there. You'll get about 4 hours. An LED light. Well, they use 5 to 10 watts. But if yours used 10 watts, you'd be able to get 25 hours just with the light itself. Now, what about a CPAP? Let me just tell you, the example I'm giving you doesn't have humidity. It doesn't have heating. So if it's just a 100-watt CPAP, you'll get about 2 hours. But if you have humidity and heating on your CPAP, I don't know if you'll get an hour. I'm not even sure. It'll probably work, but I think you'll probably get maybe an hour if you're lucky. Now, your average laptop, about 50 watts, you'll get about 5 hours. Now, what about charging devices? What if you have one of those big iPads, a 12.9-inch iPad? You'll be able to charge that about 6 times. An iPhone 14, a regular iPhone 14, you'll be able to charge about 18 times. And a Samsung S23, you'll be able to charge that about 16 times. I hope this information helped you. I wanted to show you 2 accessories you might need. Now, as you know, this power station has USB-A, 2 of them, and 1 USB Type-C. But what if you're not using Type-C yet and you want to convert it to a Type-A? Well, I've got an adapter that I'll put the link to in the video description. And it really just, you slide it in to the Type-C, and now you get 3 USB Type-A's. Now, what if it's the opposite? What if you actually want more USB Type-C's? Now, just keep in mind, by using an adapter, it doesn't really change the wattage, all right? So you can convert a USB Type-A to a USB Type-C. All you do, as long as I'm putting it in the right way, is now I just converted a USB Type-A to a Type-C. Pretty cool. I'll put these accessories in the video description. All right, we're going to do a UPS test, uninterrupted power supply. Now, this unit, they say, is pro-grade UPS. Why? It's now 10 milliseconds. That is crazy. I think the Delta Pro is like 30 milliseconds. So, 10 milliseconds is crazy fast. Now, this is plugged in to an AC outlet, is receiving 400 and some odd watts, right? To charge it, it's being charged. But while it's being charged, it's passing power through the unit, actually mainly to this cord and to this light, right? Like a UPS. So when I turn off this switch up here, this is going to switch from AC power to the unit, to the power station. And we're going to want to see, what does that 10 milliseconds look like? So, and the other thing I want to say too is, as you could see, the light's using 50 some odd watts, right? That is not an LED light. LED lights use 5 to 10 watts. So make sure you change your light bulbs at home to LED, and think about it. I mean, times 20, 30 bulbs in your home, you're going to definitely lower your electricity bill, especially throughout the year. But let's do our first test. Watch the light. And I'm going to hit the switch. I'll count to 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I didn't see anything. I mean, that was amazing, right? I didn't see anything. So now I'm going to turn this back on real quick. And I want you to now watch the display. So just give it a second. I'm going to wait for the power to just build up on the unit. And then what I'll do is I'll hit the switch and you'll watch the display to see what happens. But, I mean, that was really, really good. All right, get ready. I'm going to do it the last time. Watch the display. 1, 2, 3. And, again, you're not really looking for the display. You're really looking for what you connect to this unit. But that was really good for a UPS in a power station. You just saw the UPS test we did, right, with the light? Look, this thing's got a 10 millisecond UPS, which is really amazing for a power station. And I hope our demo helped you. Now, this is an add-on to UPS, and that's what I'm going to talk about. Now, I'll be honest with you, I don't have all the information right now because this is just launching. It's not even out yet. But the River 3 Plus, unlike the River 3, actually has enhanced UPS. All right, they call it ProGrade, by the way. Now, why? Because this has a communication port on it. I'm going to turn it around. Let me drop the back, zoom in for a minute so you can see what I'm talking about. So this white port on the right side is a communication port. That's all it does. No power, just communication. Let me zoom back out now. Now, why does it have that? Because when you take the included cable that they give you a USB-B to a USB-A cable. This gets connected to your computer as an example, right? You then plug your River 3 Plus into the wall so it can then act like a UPS. Now they say, and again, I don't have all the wording right, they say that when your computer senses that it lost power, it's actually going to communicate via the communication cable, and the UPS is going to act very, very quick. So if you're, maybe doing video editing or you're doing something on your computer, you shouldn't lose the information, right? I mean, because it's super quick. So you don't just have the UPS function in here and the cable connected to the wall. You now have this cable communicating with your computer and with the River 3 Plus. That's some crazy stuff. And I'll tell you, they just keep getting better and better. And this is obviously the River 3 Plus. Now, one of the things you want to know you're getting when you buy a battery power station is you want to know you're getting clean power out of the power station. And you're looking for a pure sine wave inverter, right? And the inverter is really connected to the AC outlet. So when you plug in a fan, you don't get a humming noise. When you plug in a projector or a TV, you're not getting distortion. So let's go ahead and turn on the AC outlet. All right, we'll see what type of voltage we're getting. We're getting 119.8, all right? Now let me switch this over to sine wave so we could see if we have a nice, look at that. So that is a really nice pure sine wave signal. That's what you want when you buy a power station. Hopefully this one, but if not, make sure you get a pure sine wave power station. All right, it's 8:23 p.m. This thing's on 0%. We're just going to go ahead and plug in the plug. All right, so that's plugged in. This is going to turn on and start charging. We'll see how long it takes. 0%, 8:23 p.m. Let's see how long it takes to charge. By the way, in the app, it says you can charge this up to 650 watts on AC charging. Now, I'm getting 336, 37 watts. So we'll keep an eye on that also. 30 minutes charging, 56%. 358 watts, 56% in 30 minutes. Not bad. 45%. Let's take a look and see. We have 84% battery with 363 watts going in. 45 minutes, 84%. 1 minute shy of an hour. What do we have? 99% with 174 watts going in. So it starts to slow charge towards the end. 1 minute left. Can we get that 100%? Like they say, in an hour. I mean, it's still pretty amazing anyway. But, let's see. 923. 99%. All right, I guess I'll check back in a minute. 1 hour and 1 minute. 100%. As you can see, it's time to do our solar test. Now, I've got a 220 watt bifacial solar panel by EcoFlow. Now, this is totally redesigned. This is called the NexGen. We did a video on this, comparing it to the previous model. I'll put an image up on the upper right-hand corner, and I'll put a link in the video description if you want to check that out. But this is a nice panel. They really, no longer does it have a case that acts like a kickstand. This actually has really nice bars and straps that are stretchable, which will give you a better angle depending. Like right now, the sun is really high. So that's one upgrade. And this is bifacial, so it'll be able to get some sun from the back as well. You can get a mirror, or you can get aluminum. We've tried a whole bunch of stuff. But check this out. They also put a solar angle guide built into the panel. As you can see, we've got a really good angle. So we're not going to mess with this at all. We're going to go ahead and connect it now and see what we get. So I'm about to connect this, but I want to show you something. What if you don't want a big panel like that, right? And you want a small panel. Guess what? If you get the River 3 Plus and the expansion battery, you can then charge using a 45 watt or a 60 watt, really small panel. My video is coming out on this soon, and I'll put a link in the video description, okay? And this is just coming out, so give me some time. If you don't see a link, let me know, and I'll make sure you get a link so you can check it out. But don't forget, this connects to the expansion battery, because the expansion battery has a USB Type-C in and out. This unit only has an out. So this will not provide, you won't be able to charge the unit using this Type-C. You'll only be able to power devices, but let's connect this now. So before I connect this, I want to give you some information that's very important. If you're new to solar, you do not want to buy a solar panel and connect it to anything. You can't do that. So with the River 3 Plus, it has specific voltage and amperage requirements, especially the voltage, all right? And if you buy a panel that overexceeds those specs, you can actually damage the unit and void your warranty. So I'm going to put up some information right now in the left-hand corner. I'm going to start off giving you the information on the solar panel. All right, so the wattage is 220 watts. I'm going to give you obviously the voltage and the amperage. And now let me give you the information on the River 3 Plus. And obviously it can handle a 220 watt panel, but what's important, especially when you're connecting that one panel, is that voltage. And as you can see, it's right inside of the requirement of the River 3 Plus. All right? If you have any questions about that, let me know. Now, another thing, I recommend that you get a MC4 disconnector tool. This is actually going to disconnect the solar cables, because I have extension cables. As you can see, I'm running a longer cable. So, you'll be able to disconnect your cables with ease. Very inexpensive. We'll put the link in the video description. And don't forget, this unit does not come with a solar cable. So we will put a solar cable in the video description, and you'd be able to buy those at no additional cost to you, and you'll actually help support our channel. Let me plug this in. Let's see what we get. So as you can see in the unit, it's got an XT60i. You see that metal pin up there? And this is an XT60i cable. It actually has the pin. All right. If you just connect a regular XT60 to this, it'll work, but you really won't be maximizing, your amperage and your wattage. So we connect this. All right. Now let's turn it on. Let's see what we get. Okay, it is connected. It'll take a moment to recognize the solar power, and it'll turn on. There it goes. It's turning on now. And we could already see we have 46 watts coming in, 136, 149, 160, 170. The highest I saw was 170. Now we have 50% charge on the unit, right? So let's see. 50% charge on the unit with 170 watts. It says it'll take an hour to charge to 100%, assuming we stay at 170 watts. Now, obviously realize when the sun changes and you have to adjust the panel, your wattage is going to go up and down. But we're getting 170 watts out of a 220 watt panel. Late in the day, it is 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It is 60 degrees. We don't have clouds in the sky. 1 hour to charge to 100% with 170 watts of solar. I would say that's a success. So how does the tool work? As you can see, it's got like these 2 pins on the side. And when you look at this here, this is pushed into this part. And you can see the pins, one and another. So what you want to do is you want to take this on the long side. You want to lay this underneath. So just bear with me. So when you lay this underneath, what happens is we now have the pins pushing up against the other pins, which will now allow us to disconnect the cable. That's all. Very inexpensive. Again, links will be in the video description, even for the longer solar cable. By the way, the solar panel actually comes in a nice carry case as well, So one of the questions we always get is, hey, if my power goes out, will this power station help me with a cup of coffee? Or will I be able to use the microwave? And the answer is no in this situation. Now, if you can find a coffee maker that doesn't use a lot of wattage, maybe. But most coffee makers are 750 watts and higher. I've got coffee makers that use about 1,400 watts to make a cup of coffee. So this power station wouldn't work. And the microwave, Really, my microwave uses almost 1800 watts. But the good news is this power station will be able to run my full-size Samsung refrigerator. So why don't we go ahead and check that out? Let's do that test. All right, we are going to go ahead and do our refrigerator test. Now, once I start the refrigerator test, I'm going to come back and actually bring you some information on our full-size refrigerator, okay? But let's go ahead, and right now it's off, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to turn on the AC outlet, and we're going to watch. It's 2:13 p.m. We're going to watch the wattage. 9 watts, 8 watts, 164, 169. So we saw startup wattage of 169. It's 2:14 p.m. All right. Now, this refrigerator, just so you'll know, is cold. It's not something that's been off. So the compressor will kick on maybe later on. And honestly, I think the most I've ever seen is 250 watts. So again, 2:14 p.m., 100% on the battery. We're now powering this refrigerator, and we're going to see how long it'll go. All right, as promised, I'm going to put an image up in the right-hand corner with some information on our refrigerator. We bought this in 2021, and it is very efficient. It is not an old refrigerator, okay? So we're going to do pretty darn good with this small power station. But if your refrigerator is an old refrigerator, when your compressor kicks on, it probably won't work with that power station. You might need something that handles more wattage. Now, this is a 600 watt power station, so that's pretty good. But the battery is small. It's not a big battery. It is expandable. But in this video, we are just going to go ahead and do a refrigerator test with the unit. No expansion battery. Let's see how long we go. I want to share a tip with you if you are powering low wattage devices or appliances. I'm going to tell you now that what you're going to need to do is turn off a feature on here. Let me go on the app for a second and show you, and then I'll explain why. So I'm on the app. I'm going to go into the settings right here. Click on that. I'm going to scroll down for more settings right here. And what I'm looking for is auto timeout. Now, auto timeout applies to a few things, but what we're going to do is I'm going to go into auto timeout, and I'm going to go AC timeout never. All right, I already turned that on. Now, why is that important? Well, in my test, I'm actually powering a refrigerator that at times really uses no wattage. Now, I don't know if I could show you that right now. So right now it's using 45 watts. Okay, but there are times where this thing will use nothing because, again, it's cool, it's cold, it doesn't need to, do anything. So what'll happen is if AC timeout was off and this detected no power being used for a certain period of time, it'll actually shut down. And it makes sense, right? And if you're not using this, it's going to save its battery. So by going into the app like I did a second ago and turning AC time off, and making sure it's on never, this is going to stay on until the battery dies. All right? Anyway, let's see how this refrigerator test does. All right, we are doing a 2-hour check already. It's 4:14 p.m. and we have 72% on the battery with 56 watts going out. All right, we'll keep looking, but we're in 2 hours right now. How long will this power this refrigerator? 3-hour check. 59% with a 3-hour check. 59%. 56 watts going out. Look at that. So 3 hours so far. All right, we're doing a 5-hour check. What we got? 27% left. And 49 watts being used. I'll tell you, I haven't seen a zero in a while. So 5 hours, 27% left. All right, let's see how much longer we can go. There's sunshine. 6 months old now, getting big. And we have 6 hours and a minute 6 hours in a minute, and I've got my Apple. I'm going to have that in a minute. 10%, and look, 154 watts being used, 155. Look at that. 155. Oof. So 10%, 6 hours in, and I'm going to have my Apple, and you just saw sunshine. All right, so we're 6 hours and 7 minutes. This just turned off, okay? It is dead. I think if I hit the button, it is just going to show you zeros. Now, it's interesting. It had 10% at 8:14 p.m. So I've never seen an EcoFlow power station 7 minutes later with 10%. So, and I don't even know. I think the River 3 did better than this, and it has a slightly smaller battery. But there's your test. All right, we're going to do a TV test. But before we do, if you know our channel, then you probably remember Brooklyn. But she passed away in 2023. We did end up getting a new dog about a year later. Her name is Sunshine. She's 6 months old now. I'll tell you, you'll see her in some of our videos. So will this power a 55-inch TV? Now, our TV is an LCD TV. They make LED TVs. And those TVs, you know, sometimes can use a good amount of wattage and sometimes not. I know ours runs on this. What I want to do is show you not only that it can run on this, but also how long. This has 100% battery, so it'll give you a good idea on how long you can actually run a TV like that. I'm going to turn on the AC outlet. We're going to watch the power to see how much it uses. And then we'll see how long it says it'll run it. All right, AC outlet is on. Let's look at the power real quick. 5 watts, 19 watts, 59, 61. 61 watts so far is the highest. 105. So the TV's on. It is using 105 watts right now. And TVs are usually pretty consistent about the wattage, unlike a refrigerator that has a compressor. As you can see there, we've got the TV on. We're using 104, 105 watts. It says it can run this for 2.5 hours. It tells you right up there. So I can run, and look at that, it dropped already to 99%. I can run this TV, this 55-inch TV, for 2.5 hours. Not bad. One thing that's important is storing this and maintaining it. So as you can see, there's a slide that's in front of you with some of the information. This is from the online manual. All right, so hit pause if you want to review this. You can also find it when the product launches. You'll find it on the online manual. But again, please make sure you know about this, because if you don't maintain it, you might void your warranty. As promised, here is a slide on XBoost. I mean, keep in mind, it's simply incompatible with devices and appliances with strict voltage requirements. All right, so just be aware of that. Hit pause if you want to check this out. I'm now going to go over my pros and my cons. I'm going to start with a con. I only have one con, to be honest. So we were doing a refrigerator test, and I had 10% battery left, and within a snap of a finger, it was gone. I can't explain why. The firmware was updated and everything. So I'm hoping you don't experience that, you know, because 10% is 10%. But pros, let's talk about those. Got plenty of them. First off, love the new display. I really do. You know, I like the way it's designed. I like that it's a little bit larger. So it works really well. I am so glad that it's expandable, by the way, too. You got 2 batteries to choose from. We're going to try to put all the links in the video description. I like the new ergonomics on the handle. They did update that. It feels more comfortable, which is nice. And a 10 millisecond UPS. Boom! Really love that. I'll tell you, that's a nice add. I also like that they include the cable that you can connect to your computer. That's pretty interesting. The last thing I like, which is an option, of course, if you get the expansion battery, I like that it has that 140 watt USB Type-C that not only can power devices, but you can also charge the battery. So it's an in and out. Really, really nice. So guys, that's really it. You know, I really hope that you found this video helpful, and if you did, take a moment and give us a thumbs up. I'd greatly appreciate it, by the way. And share our video with your friends and your family. That would be greatly appreciated. I'm going to put our social media up on top. I'll put up our Tesla channel too. It's new, give us time. But look us up on YouTube at My Tesla Journey 1. And I will put a video here on the right side if you want to check out another video if you have time. And if you want to subscribe to our channel here at TechMadeezy and join the family, I'm going to put a round TechMadeezy logo right there. Click on that. Join the family. And hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.